Everybody, welcome back. Got another video for you. This time it's going to be about the Doom Raid and the characters we're looking at we'll say that are best for these different requirements. So if you haven't gotten to the Doom Raids yet, there's a bunch of things we'll go over as far as, you know, each different lane has a different requirement. Most people probably know that at this point. Some people are bringing certain teams, certain characters, mixing with this character, mixing with that team. Got an infographic for you made by the wonderful, talented Punk, and I'll go through kind of how came to the conclusion on some of this stuff, because some of them there are some mishmashes, but I think we found a way to at least give you an idea of what you want to be looking for with a couple options as well. So we'll check that out. If you're new to the channel, we've got the 10K giveaway going. So as soon as we get to 10,000 subscribers, we'll be doing a giveaway. There's a Discord link in the description below. Go ahead and click that to follow along for free and easily. And then also subscribe, because that's free and you can maybe get some good content or advice along the way, or have some fun. Who knows? So I got that for the time being. There's also 2 sponsors in the description below for a weight loss if you're interested in that. Super easy, did it myself. Lost 10 pounds pretty quickly. And also we have Amazon coins if you are looking to save up to 20% in the game. I love doing that and wish I would have found it sooner. Anybody who's spending, definitely do that. So, all right, let's jump into this infographic and go through these teams.
Bring me WolverThor!
Okay, so like I mentioned, I think everybody knows, but I'll just you know, clarify. So these different sections have different, you know, requirements, right? So you've got tech, depending where you're at, you know, if you're over here, it starts with bio. If you're in the middle, it starts with tech. If you're on the right, it starts mutant. Anyway, and then it goes to these different categories. I'll stay in the middle because that's what I've known and done, but each lane kind of goes through this progression of different requirements at whatever sequence that it's got. So you got the tech to start in the middle, then it switches to mystic, and then it switches to mutant, and then it switches to bio, and then it switches to skill. So depending where you're at and where your alliance is at, you might want to decide, okay, I want to first, if you're in this middle here, I need to get my tech folks up. All right, well, what tech folks should I get up? That's going to be the culmination of this infographic, is hopefully helping you figure out what characters to build up. And then the same thing, so Mystic's next. I need to look at my Mystic characters. What Mystic characters should I bring up? Now, one of the things I also want to point out is these boss nodes. We will sometimes specifically note the boss nodes, because you might want to use a slightly different team. Depending on how strong your team is, it might take several different hits. I do not want you guys to be fooled into thinking some of these boss teams will one-shot these. Some can, some can't. Try to walk through that when we go through the graphic. But as you see, like typically on these early nodes, there's no Doom here. So you get to the second node, you get Doom. And this is the Mystic on the second Mystic. Is this it? Yeah. So this Mystic, you can see, you know, the Squirrel Girl's 149. If you come here, the Squirrel Girl's also 149. So they're pretty much the same here as you go through here. 137, 657 for Doom. Okay, you get the point. So as you go through here, these bosses do get the Dooms added to them, so to speak. This one, the bio one in the middle, does not have a Doom. And I haven't run these other, well, the first ones so the first ones never have a Doom. Let's find the bio over here. So yeah, so it looks like just depending where it is, some bios don't have Doom, but you know, you'll get the Dooms added to these nodes. Skill, my skill's the last one, so you know, skill 175. All right, 175. So you can see they stay the same regardless whether they're first or last. So that's one of the intriguing things about this Doom raid, is while some of the bosses get harder within your lane, but it's really just adding Doom, right? And then these stay consistent. This second bio node here is same as the second bio node. Is the same as the second bio node here. Anyway, having said all of that, what we are going to look at here is the teams for these. So let's pull up the infographic now. Where we at? All right, so let's hide our blue stacks. All right, so as always, Punk is doing beautiful, beautiful work. We tried to keep this one very simple. We just wanted to list the trait requirements here, so you can see bio, mutant, tech, skill, mystic. There's got a note at the bottom, says see the video for a little bit more details, because we didn't want to bog this thing down with a bunch of notes and stipulations or anything like that. So that's what I'm here to go through in the video. Also in this, we tried to put it so that the positioning from right to left or left to right, it's it's essentially a mirror, but you can do it however you want. But we set it up so that the positioning would be how you want to position these teams as well, so that you could kind of see where they need to go. And first off, for bio, this is probably the most simple one that you've got on here. Symbiotes, I like to typically have anti-venom off to the side to keep them alive longer. Scream, she's a little bit squishy, same thing. And then I've just got Symbiote Spider-Man in the middle, do the dodges, and then Carnage and Venom on the wings. So this team is pretty much still killing Raid, still killing Dark Dimension. These guys are great. I hope that they're going to be around for a long time. I hope they don't get power crept out. A lot of people have invested pretty heavily into these guys. And frankly, I still see them sitting around in our Raid and Dark Dimension stuff for a while to come. Now, the one thing that I do want to mention is that if you are on a, jumping back in game here, if you are on a bio node here, this, even though this doesn't have Doom, it takes some hits to get through this. So I know for me, when I go in here, this has to be tapped with a something, because there's a Doctor Strange and a JJ in there. Ideally, you can get through one. You've got to get through the Doctor Strange special where he flips all the buffs, because if you bring your symbiotes in there, they're gonna die. Okay, so you don't want to have that, or if they've got to be strong. I think mine are 630 or 650. It's a strong symbiote team. I can't get much into that node without tapping to get the Doctor Strange flip out of there. The other part is, if possible, get to JJ's special so that when she cleanses, not all of the debuffs that you've put on them go away. So a lot of times from there, you can kind of what I could call a smart auto, where you are trying to watch your abilities, making sure you're clicking on different characters, understanding when you might get a Symbiote Spider-Man stun, switch to a certain character, those type of, but most importantly, targeting characters, because they've got a Colossus in here and a Negasonic that start. That Negasonic barrier is insane to get through. It's just insane. So I leave her for last the entire time. I don't touch her. Just leave her alone until the end. And then like I said, I get the tap. Hopefully get you'll get the Doctor Strange special out for sure if you bring anything reasonable in there. JJ special is a little bit harder to get to, but if you don't get to it, just coordinate with either yourself or your lane partners and just say, I didn't get the JJ special. Now, so if you bring the symbiotes, you just don't go ham. You don't stun. You don't do all these different things. Just wait for JJ to get special out and then go at it. And typically, if you smart auto through it, you might be able to finish it, but more than likely, you're going to have to hit it another time with symbiotes. But you should be pretty close to full HP. Once it gets lower in the timer, I would suggest making sure that you take it off auto and make sure that you bring all your cooldowns back to full so you can go in there with whatever abilities you want. So that is the bio section. There's not really much more to add as far as the notes or thoughts on that one. You could always play around with the JJ Black Bolt type of thing, but I just still find that symbiotes are, something that people have already invested in, and they're just great for Dark Dimension, so it just makes sense. Okay, Mutant. So I am on the Mutant nodes. I think it's my third set of lanes, or whatever you want to call it, the third section. Now, I want to say that with Axemen, you do need to make sure that they're at least, I'd say, 430k. The reason I say that is because, and I'll jump into game here and pull up my Axemen. I was having the hardest time with this node, even with my Axemen. And the reason is because it needs to be a certain power level. So I found once now this is much higher than 430k, but I found, and I didn't have a Jubilee at gear tier 15, but you can see I don't have a lot of high reds on these outside of Bishop. And then once I got some gear, I normally don't gear tier 13 characters. I hate it. But I needed to give these guys just a little bit of strength so Kitty could survive a little bit more. And that 430, I could one-shot both the first and second nodes of that mutant raid. Now you got to be careful with that buffed bishop. That's a bug that's still not fixed, super frustrating. But you'll find around 430k, you should be able to reliably one-shot it. You got to time some of your cooldowns, try to stun a Magneto, that type of thing on the second node. The first node's pretty simple. Take out Shocker, stun Doc Ock, and just get through it. But the second node, you do need a little bit of finesse, even around 430. I think mine's around 450 or 460 now. But I find that the Axemen are definitely the best source there. And again, around 430k. If you're lower than that, you might struggle. And Axemen are such a good team in war that you shouldn't hesitate building them up for a Doom raid, because you are going to get use out of them. You're going to get use out of them out of a Gamma raid as well. They are a solid team. You will not regret building them up. And really, if you got a good Bishop, you got a good Beast, and a good Jubilee, the other two don't need to be super strong. Okay, so the boss node. I want to make a comment here is I originally was very high on this team. I will say that there's some RNG components to it. I have gone into that boss node with this specific group. And this group on my roster is pretty strong. And I've still gotten some bad RNG and not done well. Now, the key to this is clone with Sinister the enemy long shot. And then literally you can hit auto. If you get to that point and hit auto, you're typically good. And I remember the first and second time I did it, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This has to be in the infographic. And then the next 3, 4, 5, 6 times, I was like, why are my tunes dying? So I was almost going to take this off, but I know a lot of people use it. A lot of people really like it. I know there are some people, even with stronger teams than mine, for these characters, still get an RNG component to it. So be a little bit weary. Depending how this goes in the future, I might end up taking this off. We'll see. I've also been told that a extremely large Axemen team can take the boss node fine, but I think we're talking like 600 plus K. So I didn't want to necessarily say that on the mini boss node, but between these two type of teams, and you've still got a Colossus out there, you've got a lot of mutants, you've got, X Factor stuff outside of these two that you could throw in at it. You've got Magneto and stuff. You can find your ways to tap yourself through there if need be. So, and maybe that's the way you start, is you tap with Magneto and company, and then come in with this. You might be good to go. So that's what we got for the mutant. Like that one. So tech. Now, Kestrel. She is the new hotness in the game. Everybody wants her. She is clearly great. And guess what? Spoiler, you can see her at the bottom here. She's in skill too. Okay, so she is an absolute no-brain upgrade for Doom, because one, she takes care of 2 different lanes, and she's really good in some PvP stuff. So you're gonna find her in war. We'll see how she plays out in arena and all that. She's great on offense, obviously. So the rest of tech, I was a bit I don't want to say all over the place, but there's a few options here. Doc Ock is a definite. Kestrel's a definite. Doom, I think, is a definite. And then Shuri, I really like. She always tends to find her way into these graphics early on into a new raid, because that instant defense up and the energy generation. So that is no surprise here that she shows. I like Ghost. I also know Punk doesn't necessarily use Ghost. I used to use Minerva instead of Kestrel, but that was a little bit wishy-washy. Then I took out, I didn't have Kestrel at the time. I took out Minerva and put in Merc Lieutenant. And believe it or not, Merc Lieutenant actually I was able to one-shot the first 2 nodes in there. So it was like, oh, great. Okay. But Merc Lieutenant is really squishy, and sometimes on the second node, I would lose him. I'm lucky enough to have a pretty good lane partner who can easily take out the boss node as well. But if you got a decent team here for all the nodes, I think that this team here is pretty good. Kestrel, even at low levels, does well. And again, these alternates are pretty solid. Now, I would not suggest bringing Ultron and Doom in together, because you're going to start getting too many summons on there. So be smart about that. Be wise about that, how you want to do it. If you need to double tap a node, especially once Ultron gets red stars, I think maybe you do that with him. And, maybe Minerva, Merc Lieutenant, and a couple other ones. So, but I like this team. Doom, again, he's a character that also we'll see in Mystic. He'll show up again, so he gets that twofold. using those cooldowns properly will get you some good use there. Doc Octiflex, flips, summons, heals. Ghost is just phenomenal. So, all right, skill. Now, this is what kind of delayed this a little bit because there's just, I mean, we were talking about a number of different ways here. What we ended up deciding on, I was just like, you know what? It seems like Red Guardian, Night Nurse, and Kestrel are now definitely the three that everyone seems to say, yeah, those three, they got to be in there. Those are the clear ones, no doubt about it. And then there's some other options. And a couple of them we left off here, Yelena and Punisher too. If you're using a skilletary team, you might be able to plug those in there well. So I wanted to say these three is being the most important because depending where you have red stars, depending how much you've kind of invested in a team, these other groups might work for you. And you can start kind of mix match. And I don't even have Hawkeye too. Sometimes if you don't bring in Black Widow and Hawkeye still work pretty well together. But the three on the left are the ones you want to build. We got Taskmaster. Fury's got great synergy now with Kestrel. Some people love that combo. Proxima still has the offense down, the stuns. You know, Black Widow's got some synergy with Red Guardian, but some people don't like using those two together, but maybe yours is 6 red stars. You want to do it. Zemo, of course, is a little bit squishy, but he does do some pretty nice damage. He's fast. He's got a stun, so he's got slows. So all decent options here, but I think the three that you definitely want to be looking at is these three on the left. So last but not least, we've got Mystic. So Mystic. Now, to me, we were talking about this a little bit, and you're going to be kind of shocked. Someone's going to go, why do you have Silver Surfer as an alternate? And that was a point of debate and discussion a bit. From my personal experience, what I would find is sometimes when I use Surfer over Mordo, that I would actually not be able to one-shot the She-Hulk node. If RNG went bad, I would have some problems. And I have actually even had some problems, not as many, but on the first node where Silver Surfer would sometimes, not be as good as Mordo, which is kind of crazy to think about because I used to poo-poo on Mordo all the time. But if you have and this is the key part to have Mordo as part of this group, you have to have a specialty for it because you have to be able to get that stun. You want to be able to guarantee that stun on the She-Hulk. So that way you can work her down and she's not getting those charges and you can take out the rest of the team. What you want to do with that is then you've got hopefully a blind somewhere. You got Hela to spread it. You've got Thanos feeding energy to Maw and Hela. You've got Greg dying to give more energy to Mordo, which is great. Oh, and I haven't even mentioned Doom yet. So, the way this team works is pretty solid. Hela, you want to spread blinds as best you can. If you've got Silver Surfer instead of Mordo in here, then you're probably going to want to use her to spread the double ability block, which is a great tool as well. You like that. Again, but the part that I don't like is when I'm using Silver Surfer is that I can't stun the She-Hulk. So I've also got Ghost Rider over here. I would not plug and play Ghost Rider. He really needs to be in if you're not using, it's a Doom. So if you're going to take out Doom, I would plug in Ghost Rider there or maybe Silver Surfer. But you want Ghost Rider with Mordo because of the energy generation there. You can use Ghost Rider's his ultimate non-stop because of when Greg dies, Mordo's giving him energy and you can just get defense downs out there, which you can spread with Hela. It's actually really, really nice and it works well. So that's pretty much it. Doom, again, the same thing. Just plan the cooldowns right. Make sure you're smart about when you use those nukes. Sometimes I like to, if I haven't had enough summons on the board, I'll use the special to do a nuke, and then next turn I'll use the ultimate to get more summons to get quicker, get back to that nuke again quicker. So a little bit different dynamic there, but I do like that. And again, this works pretty well for all nodes. You might time out on the boss node just because it's a little bit difficult and takes a while, but that's pretty common in this raid. I think ISO Blue, ISO 2 will help a little bit get through there quicker. A lot of people run out of time. That's just how Scopely does their business. You're never going to be able to get through there quickly when the first runs. Even if you're at full health and you want another 2 minutes, they're just going to be like, sorry, you need to get ISO 2. So yeah, that's what we got. Hopefully this graphic is helpful for you guys. If it is, one of the things that we have in our Patreon, which I don't mention probably enough, to be honest with you, we have a specific tier that helps support the punk efforts. There's I think it's called the Brotherhood one, but regardless, it's got a pyro graphic on it. So if you want to help support the channel and help support punk's efforts specifically, go ahead and join the Patreon at that level. Like I mentioned before, a 10K giveaway. Click that notification bell, and the subscription button's really what you need for that. But the Discord link in the description below will get you to follow along. Hammer down on that like button. share with your alliance mates. Hopefully this will help you guys get a little bit further in the Doom Raid. And if you got any questions, put them in the comments below. Come to the Discord and we'll chat. All right? So appreciate you stopping by. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.